Oh, wait. The screen share is real. No, I'm kidding.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Timwe Presents. And here we are again with the KTANE Puzzle Plethora. Today is Friday, and the third puzzle has now been published, and it is called New Merch. As before, I've not seen the puzzle at all, I'm going in blind, and I have this code ready to check my answer without knowing the answer. So we are going to use this at the end to check if our answer is correct. So let's dive straight in. And before I start, this time with me is my good friend Zephyrd, who is going to solve this puzzle with me together. Say hello, Zephyrd.
Hi.
Hi. Very enthusiastic hi. And with that, let's go in. And here is. Ooh, that looks very interesting. I'm going to zoom in a little bit.
Not particularly wordy.
Yeah, this seems to be a very graphic-y puzzle. So I can see many obvious references to modules here. This is obviously wires. This is obviously Simon Says. This is obviously the button, Morse, keypad. This looks like
Maze.
maze.
Yeah.
Um, this looks like a battery, I guess.
Yeah.
This is the timer. This looks absolutely awesome. This puzzle was made by Cloud Gaming, and that is absolutely amazing. It looks really cool. Now, obviously, whether it's a cool puzzle is a different question, but in terms of its graphics, that is definitely very striking. So, I don't even know where to start. Um, okay, so I noticed,
Well,
I noticed that we have these patterns of dots. So my first instinct was to look at some irregularities in there. Oh, look at that. The maze, the dots that represent the maze, they form two valid Braille letters. That is a November and a Tango, I think. Sierra, it's a C. Yep, that's a BS. NS, my bad. It's November Sierra. So the maze gives us NS. So I suspect that each of these is going to give us something. The keypad here, the flat 6 is lit up, which might indicate that this is not actually the vanilla modules, but the not modules series.
yeah, the frequency on the Morse is also a bit weird. I don't know if the not
Oh
Morse does
yes.
different frequencies,
Oh yeah,
but
it does. It absolutely does. All right, let me go to the not Morse. I do not believe that I have played not Morse. It's called not Morse code, I believe. There we go. I do not believe that I've played this module. The SVG says 3.5, but I'm pretty sure that let's see, use the left and right button to select one of the 5 possible frequencies. Each frequency will transmit a different word. Only one column below contains all 5. Okay, so it uses the keypad mechanic on Morse code. Select a frequency and press XT. Aha, so that is the distinguishing thing. Instead of TX, it says
but it does say
XT.
TX.
Right. Yeah, the button says TX. All right. Let's actually just look at the original Morse code, non-optimized, and see. Yeah, your theory about the frequencies was right though. They stop at 3.6, and this one says 4.2. All right. Let's keep reading. Submit the 5 words in the order they appear from top to bottom within that column. Um, I see. So you can choose 5 possible frequencies so that the actual frequencies on the module don't actually matter. It's just basically like choose 5 different things, and each thing gives you a Morse code word, and then you have to submit the 5 things in the order of the correct column. At any time, you may hold down the XT button for 3 seconds to reset the submission. Okay. And this is just the Morse code table. Alright, so that's very interesting. Let's see if there are any other indications that these may be the not modules.
I've had a look at the wires in the meantime.
It,
It
it,
says that the not wires manual, it says it always has 6 wires, but there's 5.
but there is
So
no not wires, right? It's called not wires
it's
word.
wires, yeah, mixed with password, I guess. But there's no password on there.
Right, but yeah. Okay. Um,
So
so if these are the vanilla modules, then where is the reference to, of course, complicated buttons, complicated wires is represented by this stripy pattern down here. And wire sequences Oh, the I. The I references who's on first.
Right.
Yeah,
Nice.
because the who's on first manual, the original manual, contains these I symbols in the manual. So, this is
What
very.
are those two circles, by the way?
Repeat? Oh, those two
The two
circles.
rings. Yeah, the two rings.
Well, there's that, and then there's also the timer and the strike indicator. Right. So I'm pretty sure about the braille, though. I'm pretty sure that this is intentional and this is supposed to be
Yeah, that makes sense.
NS. So maybe each vanilla module in this picture somehow gives us two letters. 4205. No. Oh, damn it. So for a moment there I thought maybe this is the sum of two frequencies, but no, if you sum up 3000 times 2, then you get 6000, not 4000, so it's not that. Well, so here we have 5 wires, and we seem to be cutting the first one, but also the second and fourth one has already been cut. But the first one is red, and it has this star on the left, which suggests that that one was wrong. Also, maybe the choice of 9:15 for the time is intentional. Like maybe that's supposed to tell us something.
Oh
Maybe,
yeah. That should definitely
yeah,
show up somewhere.
that there could be two letters like India and Oscar, IO. So let's just write that down. If everything is two letters, then it makes sense for that to be two letters.
I'm finding it very hard to determine whether something is just graphically,
Yeah,
just like a graphic, or actually a hint.
yeah, I know what you mean.
Because the only really obvious thing is the braille, like you said.
Okay, so the button is red and it says hold. Maybe we should look at that.
I think that means you tap it.
Let's find this here. The button. I think I have a lookup table for this. There we go. What was it? It was hold and it was red.
I'm saying it's tap. Am I right?
It is
yes.
tap.
Let's go.
If I interpret the Simon Says thing, right, you could argue that the one on the right is kind of highlighted because it's set off with a frame. Or you could argue that the orange one is highlighted because it has the dotty pattern.
Yeah, the dotty pattern is weird.
So let's look at the rules for one strike in Simon Says. Let's see, one strike. Oh, serial number contains a letter. We don't actually have a serial number.
No, we don't.
So that strongly suggests that it's not actually the vanilla modules. Now the Simon Says remake is called Not Siamese, and I've never played this, so I guess. Right, let's see. Okay, so it always has green on the right, apparently, which means that if that is the one that's flashing, that would be green, which means that we're looking at this maze.
Can you scroll up again to the diamond? Does that make sense for those 4 to match with the picture? Or is the regular Simon the same?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's the same, because I know that it reuses the internal assets of the base game. It's not a remake of the actual button shapes. But anyway, let me read through the manual to see if any of this makes sense. The module contains 4 flashing colored buttons. If the buttons are not in the arrangement shown below, you're looking at a different module. This is not a Simon module. This is a maze module. The module will start... Oh, wait. It says if they're in a different arrangement, you're looking at a different module. So that might suggest that... Bingo. So real Simon Says has green on the bottom. So this is rotated counterclockwise from what it usually is. Okay. The module will start by flashing 5 colors. Okay.
I don't know if we're gonna get 5 flashes or anywhere near that from the picture.
Right, no, but if the one on the right is the one that's flashing, according to my theory, then that would be green, which would mean that we're looking at this maze. Maybe there's something about this maze.
Sure.
Or maybe it's literally just G, because it's green. I don't know. But holy... This is very interesting. Oh, well, of course. Isn't this a D battery? There you go, that's another letter. It's a D. The battery is a D.
Okay, okay.
So the way to distinguish the button from not the button is the position of the colored stripe. And in this graphic, the colored stripe is not shown at all.
Yeah.
So we can't tell. let's try to solve this module using normal keypad rules. Right, so we have the flat 6. In fact, wait, don't I have a... I thought I had...
The fourth column.
Nope, that's not it. Alright, okay, fine, I'll use the vanilla Right, then we have this thing here. Then we have the paragraph sign. And we have the back-to-back case, which means that this is the correct column. So we would indeed be pressing this one first, and that is the one that's lit up. So that suggests, you know, press that. So, oh!
That also, wait, that suggests that the bottom thing is green, because normal keypad would light up green there, and that matches the color on the bottom of the diamond. Does that make sense?
I see what you're saying. So you're saying that if this is green, then that should be green, which suggests that this is vanilla Simon rather than not Simon.
Yes.
That still leaves the question of the frequency on the Morse, I guess.
Yeah. Step at a time.
3.505 is the only one that ends with 05. So the difference is 0.7. But...
Sure.
Oh, here's another thing. Look at where the vertical line is.
Right.
I know that in
an early one.
Yeah, I know that in the base game the frequencies are always in the same place. So maybe we need to check what the real frequency would be if the line was in that place. Let's do that. I want to do that. Okay, I'm gonna run one with everything. There you go. So we can guarantee that there's going to be a Morse code on it. So the leftmost 505 would be here, I guess. So that means that this is... Let me see. Let me actually move this out of the way. Yeah, it doesn't match. It doesn't match. So if anything, it might be this one, 3522. But not exactly.
Can you have a look at the maze? Sorry, real quick.
Yeah, sure. This one.
I'm trying to figure out
Did you have a
the fact that everything is in like yellow and red is kind of annoying me, so I'm trying to decipher that a bit.
Okay.
But it's not really working.
I think it looks awesome as a design element.
Yeah, it definitely looks cool. It just makes everything kind of hard to figure out.
Okay, so so if this is supposed to be a scale from let's say from 4 to 4.6. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, it goes up to 6. Then this would indeed be 4.205. I mean, it would be 4.2. 1, 2,
no.
3, 4, 5. No, it wouldn't. It would be 4.15 is what it would be. So I guess this could be 4. And this would be 4.5. No, this would have to be 4.1, 4.2, 4.3, 4.5, 4. Whatever, I'm not making sense here, and it's just guessing anyway, so I guess I'm gonna close the game again. Okay, what could these circles mean? What do they
I'm thinking RCA ports, maybe.
Oh, that is a very good point. Stereo RCA port. But why would one of them be bigger?
Isn't that in the normal game?
No.
Or is one of them just red? It's not bigger.
No, it's not bigger. It's the same size.
Oh. Huh.
Here's another thing I just randomly realized. You notice how there's this pair of tweezers doing the wire snipping. That's not normally in the game, but there is a version of the game that has that. And I can't remember what it was. Was it one of the Android, one of the mobile versions, or was it one of the VR versions? I can't remember.
I wouldn't know. I think in VR you just have the...
Yeah, you just have
the VR controllers, right?
Yeah.
You just see those.
But there's definitely a version of KTANE that has these tweezers. So here's another thing. This puzzle is called Merch. I don't actually know what merch is available for KTANE.
I'll have a look.
Yeah, well... Let's Google for that. Fangamer.com. T-shirts. There seems to be nothing here at all. Books. Lapel
just
pins.
Nothing.
Yeah, there's just literally nothing.
That's unfortunate. Yeah, when I go to like When I Google it and press shopping, it's just only listings of the actual game.
Okay, well, let's search for merch on this page. Nope.
No! I found something big. I found
You
something
found
big.
something. What do I Google
Yeah,
for
there is
to find
actually a
it?
merch item which has almost this exact picture,
That's
except
what I
it's different.
thought. Right.
Yeah,
Where do I find it?
there you
I
go.
found it. So I'm not sure if I should be impressed or disappointed that it turns out that Cloud Gaming wasn't the one who made this.
Okay, he's deliberately changed the frequency number,
Yeah, and also the battery,
and he's cut two of the wires.
and the outline of the yellow square on Simon Says, and the dots in the
Actually,
maze. So I'm
the dots
gonna.
on the maze being Braille characters, I'm down with. I'm
Oh yeah, definitely.
definitely.
All right, but the keypad already has one lit, so that's probably not what we're supposed to look at. Let me actually try and find. I found a better picture of this. So instead of this, which is a little blurry, I'm gonna use this, and then let's take a look at the thing provided by the puzzle. And I'm gonna assume that these are both the same, so I'm gonna use only the left side. So we're gonna put this on the right side, and now we can compare. All right, let's write down all of the differences that we can see. First of all, in the wires, wires 2 and 4 are cut compared to the original. In Simon Says, I don't need the numbering. In Simon Says, the one on the right, which would be green, or was it? No, this one's yellow.
No, that was yellow. Yeah.
Alright, so yellow is lit. And then the frequency was changed from 3.505 to 4.205. The maze has the NS in Braille.
Yep.
The keypad is still the same. The battery has two extra bands on it for some reason.
The timer was changed.
The timer changed from 2:41 to 9:15. The strike indicator, I don't even know how to describe that difference. Alright, I've gone
I think
around.
the bar that goes through the middle seems to have been shifted up, but that's awfully specific.
It's not just that, it's also filled in the top half.
Does the button have extra ring? I think it might.
Oh wow, not just one. It has 2 extra rings. Thank you. I totally didn't notice that. Okay, in order to know exactly which ones it is, I'm going to overlay the two, make this sort of semi-transparent, and try to resize this. Right, now let's see what's actually different. It turns out that, yeah, okay, so I can see which ones it is. It's this one. Oh, black might not be the best marker, so it's this one and this one. These two were added. So if we assume that this downtick here is 3.5, this would be 3.51. I see, 3.52.
Right.
So that would be 3.5, 3.51, 3.52. So the line is actually at 3.52, but the frequency shows 4.205. That's very, very strange. Okay, I was gonna say about the rings around the button. Since one of those rings is thick and the other one is thin, I'm tempted to think that that might be intended to depict Morse code, and you have a dash and a dot. So that would be November if it's read from inside to outside, or alpha in the other way.
Oof. I'm also not convinced this is all we're looking for. So far, all we've done is actually like extracting letters from the picture somehow, right? I feel like there's got to be some more coherent puzzle to it.
So I'm really confused about the strike indicator. I don't know how to interpret that. But for the wires, because wires number 2 and 4 have been cut, that could be read as 24, which is X-ray.
I think I know what the thing is.
Really? Can you give me a
I think
hint?
it might be. Do you want a hint? Is that what you said?
Yeah. Do you have like the insight for the whole puzzle, or is it just a single?
I think I'm not 100%. Yeah. Okay. I know what that strike tick is. I know what that is.
Stripe tick.
That's all I
Oh,
know, but I know
the
what that is.
strike. Uh,
What?
the strike symbol.
Yes, the new strike. I know what that
Yeah.
is.
Is it a symbol from a specific module?
Yes.
Is it bamboozle glyph?
Yeah. It's one of the glyphs.
Okay, perfect.
Do you want me to say which one?
Yeah, sure.
Or you want to? Yeah. Okay.
And
Oh,
then we'll
actually, I
move
should
on.
make sure it's alpha. It's an alpha.
Uh, okay. It's an alpha in bamboozled again. But
Yes.
what about other like
I
there
was
is
just checking that one. I was
there is
checking the. Yeah, it's alpha and glyph identification as well.
yeah, okay. All right then. Then we have an alpha. So the strike indicator that would be an alpha. It is a bit weird that the top of the graphic, the one that has the eye from Who's on First, doesn't seem to have any changes at all. It seems like a missed opportunity. This is definitely a very interesting puzzle. Um,
Maybe let's look at the yellow. Let's look at the Simon again. Isn't there a different module that does that, where it kind of detaches one of the pieces from
um,
the thing?
to Triamons, I
Yeah, that
think.
one. I've never played that, but
Me neither. I've tried
is that
Triamons and
relevant?
I tried Triamons and I couldn't understand the manual, so I gave up.
I think I've had a similar experience.
Yeah. Maybe the order we need to go through them is the order in which they are in the vanilla manual. Right, if I just
Oh,
go to
yeah. I'm down with
bonman.com
that. Sure.
view as web page. So the first module is obviously wires, right? So that would be the 2 and 4, which could be an X-ray. Then the next one would be the button, which, if my theory is right about the Morse code, it's either an A or an N. And then the next one would be keypad, which we haven't noticed any differences.
Yeah, it's literally identical.
Then
It's
we have
kind of
Simon Says, which
funky.
has yellow lit. Then we have Who's on First, which has no differences that we found. Then we have memory. Is memory even represented on this?
No,
Okay,
it doesn't represent a fair few of them. I'd argue that who's on first isn't really represented either.
right.
It's just the eye.
The eye is quite iconic, I would say. So, oh yeah, then we have
Well,
Morse code, which is
look,
this part.
if you look at the thing, it's an eye with one of those like angry animation things. So I think it's supposed to represent like an angry diffuser because he's cutting the wires.
Right.
But yeah, then he has the heart rate. I suppose yeah, I don't know. I think it might be trying to
Right. So
say
my
it's a
theory
person.
about the red stripes was that they would represent complicated wires, but even then there are no changes in those. So I'm gonna say complicated wires is also a no change. Then we have wire sequences, also nothing I can see that
Nope.
represents that. So wire sequence. Then we have maze, where we have the November Sierra in Braille. Passwords is also not represented at all. Um,
Yep.
then we have needy modules which are not represented. And yeah, and then the appendix obviously would mention the battery. The timer would be mentioned at the start in the intro part. And I still maintain that because it's a 9 and a 15, it probably stands for I/O.
What about taking the difference though? Like 726. Oh no, because it adds on one. Nah.
9.15 minus 2.41, and that gives you 6.74.
Well, no, I was just thinking difference between 2 and 9 is 7, and then 41 and 15 is 26. Much
Okay.
like you're just going 9 and 15. I'm just
Yeah, okay, so in that case that would be FZ. Wait,
sure.
no, it's GZ.
GZ, yeah.
Okay, so anyway, the other idea that I was going to mention is the specific way that the battery was changed. Um,
Yeah.
it could either be read as Morse code again, dash dot dash, which would be kilo, or um, resistors.
Mm.
Like it might look a bit like resistor bands, but in order to interpret resistor bands, we would need specific colors. So the Morse code theory seems more likely.
I don't think. Mm, I'm not really. Because like a dash is exactly 3 units long and a
Yeah,
dot is exactly 1 unit, so I don't think it really fits.
I had the same thought, but even if we could get specific letters from, each of the parts, it's not clear how to put them together into a word without random anagramming.
The battery is bugging me so much.
Yeah. Maybe the two bands are supposed to represent a Roman numeral 2, or maybe the astrological symbol for Gemini.
Or 11.
Or 11, yeah, I didn't even think of that.
Okay, so the glyph on the strike thing, like that's referencing a very specific module. I think we might need to look at other modded modules. Like
Right.
specifically.
Well, the
Because
only
that kind of stands out as the only thing we've identified that's like very specifically from a modded module. Is there any wire modules where you have to cut multiple? Apart from obviously complicated wires.
Well, what about not wires word?
Didn't that
And then of
not
course
work?
there's 7 wires, there's risky wires, there's wire spaghetti, there's wire placement, but
Yeah, I mean those don't really fit as well.
definitely a great idea for a puzzle, but very, very subtle. Like, to really extract something from this requires a lot of guesswork, I think.
Alright. Anagram, ship it.
Yeah. To a Disney.
Perfect.
Dixon Yates.
Dixon Yates.
Hey, here we go, Dixon Yates. Oh no, that's incorrect. What a shame. Actually, as I say that, it occurs to me that the boozle glyph and the timer is all vowels. A, I, O. Is there any module?
Fair.
Is there any module that has A, I, O in its name? No, of course not.
So, you're the more experienced puzzler. What is a puzzler to do in a situation as such?
Despair and ask for a hint. That's what I planned to do in the first puzzle before Namdegaset gave me, the idea that led to the solution.
I'm down to ask for a hint if you are.
Well, we can't do that now. We can only do that 24 hours after publication.
Ah, I see. Okay, fair enough.
For some reason, I'm just really, what's the word? Attracted to the idea that it's supposed to be kilo in Morse code, even though the width is not proportional as it should be.
Oh, well, in that case, what if it's X-ray? Doesn't that
Dash
fit
dot
better?
dot dash. Well, no, because then the gaps between the dots is smaller than the gaps between the dot and the dash. But okay, it could be X-ray. But what
That would
about
just give us another X-ray, which is not particularly what we're looking for.
yeah? So what about the wires, right? The second and the fourth wire cut.
How did you get X-ray from that, by the way?
Yeah, I just assumed that 2 and 4 give you 24.
24. Oh,
Yeah.
sure. I mean, okay.
Which is a stretch, right? I agree it's a
Yeah.
stretch.
Okay.
How else could you interpret this? I suppose you could say it could be binary. You now have a 5-digit binary number. If you read that from top to bottom being most significant to least significant, then you would get 16 plus 8 plus 2, which is 26, so that's a Zulu. That's not that much more helpful, is it?
But I mean, why count the red one then? Because that was already cut.
Okay, well, if you don't, then you get 10, which is Juliet, which is also...
I mean, yeah, it's gotta be more decisive than that. This one.
So what if I literally just take the difference between the two frequencies, 4.205 minus 3.505? That gives me 0.7. Oh, that's how we got the golf. That's right.
Yeah, that's the step. Do.
Yeah, in that case, I will wait for the 24 hours to be up and ask for a hint. And if I have any more ideas before the time is up, I will resume the recording. Hello everybody, and we're back at the KTANE Puzzle Plethora. Last time we didn't quite solve the newest puzzle called New Merch. We are now 24 hours into the publication of this, and we have received a few hints. Or here are the hints that we got. So first of all, regarding the battery, it says, well, I as a hint, as in my hint request, I said that the two added bands could be dot dot in Morse code, which would be India, or if you look at the red portion, you get dash dot dash, which would be kilo. But it says here you're on the right track, but consider a little more than what was added. So I'm guessing the entire battery gives you dash dot dot dash, which is therefore an X-ray. So I'm gonna assume that this is Morse code for X-ray. Secondly, wires. Binary is on the right track, but what is more likely to be a 0? Of course, why didn't we think of that? We assumed that the 2 and the 4, the wires that were cut extra, would be the 1s. Well, actually, I also thought that maybe if you concatenate 2 and 4, you would get X. But of course, a cut wire is gone, so that's more likely to be a 0. So we would get binary 00101, which is, of course, 5. So that would be an echo. Alright, this here is unlikely, so I'm gonna remove that. The button rings. So we did notice that 2 extra rings were added. We noticed that one of those rings was thicker at the time, so we thought maybe that was Morse code because it's dash dot or dot dash. But that was changed since, and this is the changed version, the one where the rings do not have differing widths. And the hint here says, what would you normally do with that button in game? We did check that at the time, and the answer was tap. So with that hint, I'm going to assume that it is actually tap code. So we get tap code 14, which is a delta. I didn't get a hint on the keypad, so I'm assuming that's nothing. The Simon, what does the highlight look like? Again, I'm annoyed I didn't think of this. We already had Morse code and Braille, so of course all the different text encodings were gonna be hidden somewhere. So this one is probably Pigpen. So instead of saying yellow lit, let's take a look at the Pigpen Cipher, and we notice that that is in fact a uniform. Okay, so let's change that. Pigpen uniform. The let's see who's on first. All right, regarding the memory, yeah, we had that. Oh, not memory. Sorry, I meant Morse code. Yeah, memory was nothing, and who's on first is also nothing, and the keypad is, we're also assuming, is nothing. So for the Morse code, it says where could the given frequency come from, and how could you extract something from it? And I said that, well, we figured out that the frequency 4200 is used in not Morse code. But then I got this, which says 4200 was not the given frequency. Of course, it's 4205. I was just being imprecise. And then it says, I don't think you mean not Morse code. I did mean not Morse code, but this suggests that not Morse code is not actually the one we should be looking at. So I'm going to search for this number on katane.timwe.de, and it looks like more code. I see. See, I did not know about this module. I mean, I kind of knew about it, but I didn't know that it has these frequencies. So 4.205 is in fact identified with the word allocate. So 4.205 is allocate, which I suppose you could extract the first letter, which would be an A. And it says if the serial number contains only one letter in faulty. I don't think that is intentional. If no, neither would that. Alright, anyway. So, allocate. Oh, I just noticed that all of these words start with the letters A to M. In that case, it's even more likely that we want the first letter. So I'm gonna put this in parentheses. So again, these aren't anything. The maze has November Sierra in Braille. Password isn't there. The battery is an X. And this is starting to look like education. Well, there is an S here, and education definitely doesn't have an X in it. So I'm still not getting a full word. But also, I wouldn't know how to sort these, like how to order them. Although there is a chance that it expects me to order them in something resembling reading order. So the first thing in reading order would be the wires. So let's put that on top. And then we would have the Pigpen, which is Euphoria, European, I don't know. Then we have the button, which is tab code. Let's put that here. Then we have, I suppose, the Puzzle glyph, which is the strike indicator. Then we have the more code, which is it's not forming a word. Then we have the timer, which is IO. Then we have the maze braille, which is NX, and on the bottom we have the NS, and then we have the battery, which is an X. Okay, so if we assume that all of the letters are correct and complete, then we should be able to form an anagram out of this. But it's not looking likely. It's looking like there should be a T somewhere in order to make TIONS. Yeah. Okay, I don't think the X is correct. Alright, it's getting closer to forming words, but yeah, I think I went through everything that's on this poster. Of course, it's possible that the keypad still has something, like it could be a digit 6 or maybe the letter Bravo, because that's a Cyrillic Bravo, but it's pretty unclear as to because it didn't change from the original. So if this is intentional, then I don't know. I mean, if it's binary, just like the wires, 1, 2, 4, 8. If it's binary, then that would be 8, which is a hotel. So let's see what happens if I add an hotel into the mix. I don't get anything useful. Nope. That is not looking like a sensible word. Okay. Let's see, which ones are we absolutely certain about? Well, maybe not absolutely certain, but for the wires, 5 is by far the most likely, because it's binary. For the Simon Says, it's a Pigpen, and it's definitely a uniform. It doesn't have a dot inside it. The button, if it is tab code, it's a 1, 4. If it goes from outside to inside, then it would be a 4, 1, which would make it a Q, so that's less likely. The strike indicator is definitely a Puzzle glyph for alpha. The frequency is from more code, which is allocate. The timer is IO. The maze is NS. That battery, that really irks me. The hint said consider a little more than what was added. Yeah, if that's not dash dot dot dot, if that's not dash dot dot dash, then I don't know. Dash dot dot dash is definitely X-ray. Alright. Okay, so after putting these into reading order, it seems that the wires are at the top, and then there's Simon Says, and then there's the button, then the strike indicator, and the battery is definitely at the bottom. So if the hint, if my interpretation of the hint is correct, and that is Morse code for X-ray, then the answer would have to end in X-ray. And to be honest, I can only think of one thing that looks kind of similar to this that ends in IONSX, and that is a module named equations_x. So I'm going to put that into the answer checker where I have the code here. I'm going to type equations_x, and that is correct. So we have solved the new merge puzzle. Okay, so before I end this video, I want to show you how the puzzle was intended to be solved, which I cleared up with the creator in the meantime. So, first of all, the elements are indeed supposed to be read in reading order rather than the order in the vanilla manual, which puts wires at the top. Now, in my opinion, Simon Says is the one that is next, and the button would be below the Simon, but apparently the intention was for the button to come first. And also for the tab code to be read not from inside to the outside, which is how I would read it, because the button is basically the pivot point, but it was intended to be read from the outside inwards, which gives you 4-1 and therefore a Q. I did have that idea at one point, but I discarded it because having the different order of the letters, I didn't realize that it could be followed by a U if you changed the order of those two. And then finally for the allocate here, we did get the right word, it is the word allocate, but what I didn't figure out is that these tick marks here are supposed to be an indexing indicator. So the vertical line, the red line, is at the 7th tick if you count all of the ticks, and therefore you're supposed to take the 7th letter of the word allocate, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The 7th letter is tango, and that way you get the answer, equations X. Thank you very much for watching, and see you again for the next puzzle in the KTANE Puzzle Plethora.